So today we have William Birkin, aka G, from the Resident Evil 2 remake, taking on Nemesis from the Resident Evil 3 remake. Who wins? Let's find out. So, for this fight, to make it more interesting, and since they both mutated several times in their own respective game, I'm going to put these monsters up against each other in each of their mutated forms. So, their first form will fight, their second ones, etc. You get it. So, for their first forms, who would win? Well, Nemesis walked through stone brick walls like they were nothing, like they weren't even there, and easily crashed through ceilings, casually threw a large block of stone debris, casually lifted Jill with just one hand, temporarily stopped a speeding muscle car dead in its tracks with just his weight, and he destroyed a train car off screen, ripping off its roof and slaughtering everyone in it. He was unfazed by conventional firearms like handguns, like he was basically bulletproof to them. He got right back up after being driven off the top of a parking garage and being crushed by that muscle car upon impact, and after a claymore explosion that sent him flying. He was only stunned by grenade explosions and grenade launcher blasts. He withstood being blasted by a rocket launcher, and he survived a C4 explosion at point blank range that caused the train to crash at full speed. And he was incredibly fast and agile, being able to jump from building to building, run and move at incredible speeds, dodge grenade launcher blasts, and he even caught a rocket launcher from behind with one of his tendrils. Speaking of, he can project these tentacle like tendrils from his hands to snatch up his targets from afar, and these can easily restrain and kill people, and can even stop rockets, apparently. He was also very intelligent, capable of following orders and using weapons like this big missile launchers and flamethrowers efficiently, too. But what about William's first form, G? Well, in this form, only his arm and shoulder was like really mutated, and and it was incredibly large and muscular and had with these massive claws and whatnot. You saw it there. He could effortlessly bend, warp, and smash metal, easily ragdolled Leon and Claire, stopped a shipping container being swung around by a big crane twice, and he easily ripped the Tyrant Mr. X in half. Uh, he withstood being shot by a handgun and a shotgun, mostly unfazed, withstood shots from the magnum and the grenade explosions, and he survived a massive fall. His only problem here was that he had a really big eye on his shoulder as his weak spot, and it was easy to target. But with his massive claws, it allowed him to easily slice through Mr. X and metal. Um, Overall, I think Nemesis wins this fight between their first forms. Um, Now he could win with his claws, right? He could just rip Nemesis in half like he did Mr. X. He's a tyrant just like Nemesis. He could do the same. But I think more times than not, uh, Nemesis would win. Uh, the claws, it really is only true hope, and I just think Nemesis would win it at the end. Like, think of a G as a lab experiment gone wrong sort of deal, while Nemesis was an enhanced tyrant that was built to be an intelligent weapon. Not just a weapon, an intelligent weapon. Uh, so, yeah, I'd say Nemesis would win that, but that's okay, because after Nemesis does enough damage, G will mutate into this monster, his second form, G2, a towering, disgusting monster that even Nemesis would have to look up to. This guy easily lift and threw these massive chemical tank things, sent a net flying across this large room with enough force to shatter her ribs and eventually kill her. And he even ripped this big elevator thing out of the wall. um, he was more or less impervious to all bullets, and even grenade explosions didn't do much. And he also endured several shots from the grenade launcher and that anti-BOW gun that Annette used was designed to kill BOWs. Uh, and instead of just one large eye, he had multiple smaller eyes all over his body that had to be destroyed before defeating him, making it harder to hit. He was also much faster on his feet. I'd say this guy would crush Nemesis, his first form. But then again, Nemesis will mutate into this guy on 4 legs. Yeah. He easily leaps like 100 feet into the air, easily crushed cars and damaged buildings, and he easily busted through large metal walls. He was so durable to the point only grenade launcher shots in Jill's arsenal could hurt it, and it withstood several blasts from each type of grenade launcher round. Um, he also withstood being electrified several times and being drowned in a big bowl of acid. He also had a great healing factor, seeing how he basically instantly regrew his arm. He was also very fast and mobile on his feet. And now he also had shards that had the T virus infused with it, and still had his tendrils as well. This would be an awesome fight. This is a fight I would like to see, like in the games, like there's some sort of crossover. This one right here, there's 2 second forms. Um, but I do think Nemesis' second form would eventually get the better of G2. Um, he is he's not as tall, but he is overall larger. And I just think he would win at the end of the day, eventually. And now let's just have both of their final mutated forms fight, since G's final form would crush that Nemesis. So, in their final forms, they're both massive. I mean, like big. Nemesis took up an entire large room. And although we don't really see how big G3 was, it was able to slow down a speeding train. So, but Nemesis is simply just bigger and more durable. And that's just a fact. In the final fight with G3, Claire just shot it several times in its big open eye. That's it. Just over and over until it died. In the final fight with Nemesis, Jill literally had to shoot him at least twice with this massive railgun that shot this big laser beam thing that eventually blew a massive hole through Nemesis. Yeah, through that large thing. Yeah. There's also the thing that none of Nemesis's forms really had a weak spot to target, unlike all of G's, you know what I'm saying? And I think it just goes back as well to what I said earlier. Nemesis was created to be an intelligent weapon, and he was. G was more of a experiment, not ready to be used. That basically, yeah. Nemesis wins at the end of the day. He's just the better monster. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you think and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.